Hey everybody, Foxy Mama Rocks here, and I've got another Anne Hunter book to review, and it's called Moonlight. So, unlike my last review, which took forever, even though I was really excited about it, it took too long to get to the point. So, instead of giving you readings and spoilers, I just want to talk about what I liked about Moonlight, what I didn't like about Moonlight, and why I think you should read the book. First of all, there was nothing that I didn't like about Moonlight. Moonlight is basically a Celtic retelling of the story Swan Princess. So, right off the bat, I'm expecting the best from Miss Anne Hunter, and I was not let down. Also, just as you know, here's my disclaimer. I applied to read this book on tomosun.com, and in exchange for a free copy of the ebook, I was supposed to write reviews on websites like Amazon, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I was also supposed to put in the link where you can buy the book and use the hashtag Crowns of the 12. So let's get started. What did I like about this book? Um, as always, with most of the books that I've been reading so far from Miss Hunter, I like the pace of the book. A lot of books, they get too deep in the detail. They start talking about characters to the extent where we're talking about how they see the world, their whole worldview, and it's just like this long, droning essay. With her, we do get a background on the characters, but it's not like this huge, gigantic production. She's like, for example, Prince Xander of Blackthorn Keep. We find out that he is a thorn in his father's side, and his father, King Rob, cannot stand the boy. He is the cause of his mother's death. She dies in childbirth, and so from that moment on, you have his brother Bannock. He's like so wonderful, and he's got everything going for him. But their father treats Xander in such a way that he's the underling, he's the loser, and he literally sends him out to war as an unexperienced teenager and probably doesn't want him to come back. Now, that's the only spoiler that I'm going to be giving you. Um, Getting back to the task at hand, what I like about Moonlight. First of all, there is romance in Moonlight, but it's not like mushy gushy, disgusting, sticky, over the top romance. It's a fine layer. Um, you know, the young girl and the young man, they spend time by this pond, and they share a moment, they hold hands. Later on, they kiss, and it gets a little steamy, but it's just enough romance to balance out the drama and the action in the story. So there's plenty of action, there's plenty of drama, and there's plenty of betrayal. Right at the beginning, we're given a lot of hints at foreshadowing, like who's going to be the bad guy, who's going to stand out the most. What you have to do is you have to pay attention to the characters in the story, like who stands out the most, who's saying the most. Big tip off. Um, Pretty much my favorite part of Moonlight would have to be when the main character, and her name is Awen, when Awen is sparring with her brother Iagni or Iagni. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but that's how I heard it in my head. I love when she's sparring with him because when you read about princesses and there's a thing going on, usually they're in the castle, they're sewing or doing embroidery work or baking or brushing their hair, and they just don't quite know what to do with themselves. With Awen, I kind of got a Merida feel for her, but she's her own character, and Marida's her own character. But with Awen, she's hands on, and at first she doesn't know what to do because what happens is there's a tragedy in the family, and that's all I'm going to tell you. There's a tragedy in the family, and it strikes a chord within the dynamic of the family. And pretty much she has to become this big, strong voice. Think about that. You're a teenager and this thing happens, and all of a sudden you are responsible for the well-being of 6 brothers, one dad, and an entire kingdom. It all rests in your hands. And at first you're like, dude, I'm afraid. What am I going to do about this? And throughout the story, she becomes, first she starts off as this girl who's scared to go in the ancient royal burial mound, to this strong, courageous woman who's like, you know what? I'm going to go down there. I'm going to do what I have to do. Come on out. There's a war going on around Beltane. She's like, you know what? I need some help. I can't speak on it right now, but I'm going to do what I have to do because a queen never falters and a queen always sticks up for the king. That's a bit of an ad-lib of the actual quotation. So we're hitting the 6-minute mark, and I was trying to get this done within 5 minutes, but I just want to say this about Moonlight. There's never a dull moment. So you're not just going to be sitting there reading and you're bored and blah blah blah, you're going to put it down. I binge read this entire book within about a week and a half. I spent about 5-6 hours per day, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I did it in shifts. I read this book and I wanted to read it and absorb it, not to just rush through it so I could do the review and get it over with. I wanted to do it so I could identify with the characters and absorb their message and be able to talk about the book fluidly. So far, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable answering questions about the characters in the book, about the different subjects and terminologies in the book. Not so much with the pronunciations. And if you want to learn how to correctly pronunciate the names and the different translations of some of the things that have been said, in the back of the book, and Anne Hunter does this for most of her book, in the back of the book, there's a glossary and an explanation about the symbolism, definitions of what creatures are, what people might be saying. And it's just such an awesome and rich book. So I really want to talk more about the book, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So, basically, Moonlight is a good fantasy tale about a heroine who has to pretty much go in her father's stead to make sure that their kingdom is safe. What happens, and I'm trying so hard not to spoil this, what happens is that her mother's handmaiden turns out to be this super bad evil witch, and she's coming up with this plan with this guy named Silas Mortis to take over the kingdom of the Summer Isle and start this new race, and it's all going to be theirs. And in the process, she curses all of Iowyn's brothers. She kills her mama. I was trying not to say that, but you pretty much have to. She kills her mother, and she curses her father and tries to ensure that he dies slowly right in front of her face. So, Iowyn has to grow up quickly. And that's what I pretty much took from this story. When something happens, you have to grow up quickly, and you have to mature, and you have to find the courage within yourself, and you are never alone. And for yours truly, it kind of did strike a nerve with the mother dying, because my mother died when I was 2.5, and there were a lot of things that I had to work through myself growing up, even though I had a grandmother and an aunt, lots of aunts who raised me, lots of people who took care of me. There were just some things that a mother, should have been there for, and she wasn't. And I had to either figure them out myself or rely on my father to help me. And I know sometimes he was hurting too, So, I love the character of Iowyn. She's such a different princess. Like I keep saying over and over, she's so different. And it was refreshing because she wasn't the damsel in distress. She was part of the ambush to get rid of the handmaiden. And now the handmaiden kind of has this difficult-ish name to pronounce. And for discussion purposes, I am going to abbreviate and call her Siat. So, Sia is the handmaiden in question, and she curses the brothers. She pretty much semi runs Alwyn out of her own castle. And Alwyn has to try and find a safe space to go off into with her brothers. So that's difficult. You spend all your days at this safe place. It's a pond called Anquan Isle or Ale, I believe. So they're at Anquan Isle, and that is this beautiful pond that they go to with their mother, like a year prior to the story. And so that's their safe space. And she spends a lot of time there, and there's this whole awesome symbolism with the moon. The moon is bathing her in its light, and the moon is a symbol of renewal, rebirth, and in Celtic folklore, I believe that it's like somebody dies and their spirit is reborn, especially women. You know, her mom is the moon symbolized in this book. So, wow, I actually did it without spoiling anything. What I want you all to come from this video and understand and learn about Moonlight is that it's an epic tale. It's kind of like maybe the stuff you read in high school or college lit classes, but it's not as difficult. But it's not dumbed down either. I believe it's a very elegant, well written story. And I feel that way because Miss Hunter creates these characters in such a fashion, even though this is folklore and fable, and this is years and years ago. She creates identifiable characters, so you can almost find yourself in some of the characters in the story, even the ones that are just like short-lived, and with the exception of the bad guys, it's like Silas Mortis. You can pretty much, I don't know, you see yourself. And I especially saw myself not completely in Xander, but you know, sometimes you feel like the underling in your family. I'm the middle child and the middle cousin. So, you know, you got the younger kids, the older kids, the ones that have been there before you. And you kind of feel like you're the bane and the thorn in people's sides, and you're really not, but, you know, you kind of feel left out sometimes. So, anyway, my review for Moonlight has been short ish, spoiler free ish, and I give it 5 stars. I don't have a thing, so it's just my hand. I give it 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I've already given it my review on Amazon. I posted on social media, so this is the last stop. And I just want to say that I really enjoyed reading this book.